handful of presenters, a mass of microphones, and a whole load of talk. This is TigerTails Radio.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to another delightful, delectable, and otherwise entertaining episode of TigerTails Radio. I am CK, and I am not well. And we also have a Xavier.
Hello all.
Who is well.
Yes.
Or at least should be.
Well, and been rather concerned because I couldn't get hold of you for a good solid
Half an hour.
20 minutes.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. Let's just say I'm never buying Greg's on the way home again.
Okay.
Yeah, and leave it at that.
Okay.
It was not a happy time in Digestive Tract City.
And there we shall stop talking.
It's not still an amazing time, but at least I'm able to come out of the toilet now. And there we'll stop talking.
And plenty of fluids will be had. So yes, this is TigerTails Radio. This is show 25 of season 9. We have reached one short of halfway.
Yeah, we're nearly there. And you can tell it's just me and Xavier today, otherwise things would have gone off on time.
Well, he says on time, otherwise there'd be people panicking in the room whilst TK's being ill.
Oh no, because I could have shouted out buttons to press. Because pretty much, aside from my laptop, which compiles the music and stuff, all the other PCs were on and pretty much ready. I just had to set up the YouTube feed, which I've just done very quickly. And that was it, really. Everything else was ready to go. So what I could have done was just, from my little cupboard of unpleasantness, just shout out instructions to any other person who happened to be here. Alas, today, no one else happened to be here.
No, unfortunately.
I'm going to be having some angry words about Greg's.
Oh. So it's just me and TK. It's going to be a short show, because I imagine TK will probably still want to finish on time.
Well, I'm happy to finish whatever. It's all down to you.
It's all down to your stomach.
Well, that's over. If I suddenly have to go, very sorry, and run off, yeah, have fun.
Yay. So what we'll do then is just jump into our weeks, because this is the first show of the year of 2016.
Yay! Oh, of course,
Yay.
it's the typical 2016 stomach, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's trying to remember to write 2016 instead of 2015 whenever you have to write things.
Oh, dear God, yes.
All good fun.
Really been hating that so far. Here's the red check. Wait a second. Fuck.
Well, whilst TK's recovering then, my week has been good because we had New Year's and I actually relatively stayed up to wish it in, watching telly.
Oh, yeah?
And chilling out. Saw the fireworks outside the window, which was nice. Wasn't going to go out because rain.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, that's kind of been the underlying theme of my working week, because it's been a case of, and now I go to work, it's raining. Or now I go to work and it's dry, and then I come home and it's raining.
Yeah.
For 3 solid days, whereupon I get to work, and they go, well, it's quiet, and we've got plenty of people in. Hey, do you want to do all the online stuff? Yeah. Okay, off you go. By the way, there's not enough work for an entire day.
Oh, yeah. Well, between New Year's, Christmas and New Year's, our company was quite awesome in that respect. It's like, do you have any holiday left? Yes. Would you like a half day today? Yes. Okay, we'll see what we can do. We'll see how quiet it is a bit later on. When you've worked your obligatory half a day, we'll see if we can let you go. And yeah, for the Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, I got to go home.
Nice.
Awesome.
We do all of that planning beforehand, so if you've got the holiday available, you can have holiday.
Oh yeah, if beforehand, if you have holiday entitlement and you're lucky, then you can actually book that off. But
yeah,
once you're in, it's like, well, we'll see how quiet it is, and if it's dead, we will let people go home. Yeah, and they kind of thin out the numbers as they require.
Yeah, trying to get out of work on those days was a pain. But it was a short week because it was only 3 days, because Bank Holiday Monday, because Christmas.
Yep.
Bank Holiday Friday, because New Year's. Had a very nice don't do much over the weekend and have a chicken roast dinner as well.
Ooh, very
kind
nice.
of weekend. Oh yeah. It was lovely. Stuffed myself silly. Spent most of the day either watching TV with my lady love or idly
in a food
killing
coma.
time. Yeah, kind of. I've been doing bits and pieces and playing some games as well, because I've got Kingdom Hearts 1.5, which I'm working my way through the first one, which is great fun when you remember the difficulty I had the first time I was playing that.
I have real difficulty with the platforming elements of it because Sora handles like a tank.
Yeah, that's before double jump, and you don't get double jump for a while.
Oh god.
Yeah. So I'm still at that point, but I've gotten to the point where it's a case of, well, I can feasibly fight, and for some reason I prefer taking sword and shield rather than magic, so I somehow take the hardest route in that game, even though it's not explained.
Yep.
And still do rather well. And I don't understand why, but that's been the occasional jump on for like an hour to play with, and it's quite nice.
After the stream, if you're lucky... Ooh, mate. Ooh, cough.
As TK dies.
Yeah. Awesome Games Done Quick is currently going on.
Yes, I heard that was going on.
Yep, and when our stream ends, they'll be starting the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 run. It's like awesome.
Seeing as it's like can be done in half an hour or something stupid.
Well, they're doing it in, I think it's 3 hours 20. With bonus donations going to facing Sephiroth at the end. as well as the Disney sing-along.
The Disney sing-along will be successful. Sephiroth, nah.
Sephiroth!
One hit kill. Oh yeah.
Sephiroth, a bunch of dicks on that game.
But yeah, that's been my last week, and then came back on Monday for work, and thankfully I've missed the rain, which was nice. But it was a case of it's going to be an interesting day. Day started off quite busy, and then suddenly it was a case of, can you do some online? Okay, that's fine. And then system problems. Okay, that's fine. And then one call an hour.
Oh, you lucky thing.
Not really. I've been staring at the BBC News website, banging my head against the desk practically, because it's like there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do.
Oh, you poor ducky, you.
I don't like that, because it's like I come from an environment where it's a case of you have work to do, you have cases to manage, there is never a shortage of things to do. And then suddenly it's a case of, oh yeah, people just aren't calling, and there's no back work that you can get unless you start strangling people and say, give me more work. And you'll just sit there and you go, I'm not taking a call in half an hour. I could have done hundreds of things in half an hour.
But
and then it's an hour.
But you didn't because you had nothing to do, or?
There was nothing to do. It was like no calls, and no one was going, oh, you need to be jumping on doing any other stuff.
Yeah.
And then all the managers go home, and it's a case of, so who's the late manager? And they point in a direction, and then they can't see the late manager, and we go, oh, it's that kind of evening.
Yeah.
So just slowly vegetate under the desk.
So for some. Whereas ours was actually a little busy. I say a little busy. In the morning, well, in 3.5 hours, I took on average about 7 calls. Which for that kind of time period is quite busy when you think about it, considering most of them are, I deal with financial advisors. Most of the financial advisors will be off work. And then you're speaking to these guys going, why are you ringing me? Go and be on holiday. You're not supposed to be working. Go away and not work.
And those are the dedicated ones or the new ones.
Yeah. So I just needed to catch up. No, you didn't need anything. Shut up, hang up, and go and enjoy Christmas with your family. Jesus Christ, people. What's wrong with you?
And for your free time, you've mostly been editing videos, I see.
Yeah, I take it you've checked out the TigerTails gaming videos, channel videos.
That and some of your updates on Twitter and Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mostly on Facebook. I've been bitching about video editing because... Fuck, that mystery video one. Fuck that one.
Yeah. So if you're interested in the stuff that we do that isn't radio related, because we do gaming as well as other entertainment type stuff, you can indeed find it on TigerTails Gaming and TigerTails Entertainment on YouTube. All the details are indeed on our websites.
Yeah, it's TigerTails TV on YouTube.
Yes, and TigerTails TV also had an update as well for the new year.
Yes, it did. Oh yeah, TigerTails Gaming, TigerTails Radio, and TigerTails TV are the 3 YouTube channels.
Yes. You will undoubtedly find something for your taste.
Whatever your taste may be.
Chocolate, apparently.
It was radio. Well, no, I've managed to upload all of the Sonic 2 videos as well. So
Yes, I saw
finally,
that.
that's off my back. And then the mystery video,
It was like, oh god.
the mystery game, of which I should not spoil the name of,
Yeah, do not call upon that game ever again.
for it will come. We say its name 3 times.
Once. Oi. But yeah, that's been our weeks. It's an interesting start to the year. We've already done the resolutions, shall we bother, shall we not, kind of thing. I've got my goals for the year that I'm starting to work to. So I'm set. It's in terms of writing, more videos, and losing weight. That's all I'm worried about.
Whereas I am actually at the weight I want to be. I actually managed to hit my target weight, and I've kind of maintained, so I'm happy. So
He's
now,
hit fat, and he's maintaining fat. Yes.
yeah, well, fat-ish. I've hit knocking on fat's door and managing to maintain it, and I don't want to go sailing over it, so now I've got to have that kind of balancing of doing just enough to be there without screaming past the mark and just going blob. Which is a
Well,
hard juggling act.
Well, thankfully, you've got a bike, so if it gets too bad, you can get on your bike.
I can always go cycling. I do enjoy a nice cycle. I haven't had one
Yes.
for a while.
So that's our week. So what we'll do then is jump into some quick news
you
as
don't
we flesh out.
You don't fancy any tunes?
You have tunes?
Yeah, like I said, I had shit ready this week. And I just had a dicky tummy.
So what tunes do you have then, TK?
Well, this first one, well, I saw OC Remix actually released a new album in tribute to... Oh, that's really sad. I forgot to name the tribute. Shit. That's not... Oh, yeah. Iwata.
Ah, yes.
And it's called Heart of a Gamer. And so it's a load of tracks, well, 6 tracks from his games and things. So I thought I'd play some of that, give that album a little bit of publicity, because people should go and download it as a tribute to Iwata. It's a nice thing that OC Remix have done. And so people should be made aware of it.
Yes.
So I thought I will do that. So the first track we have from it is actually the first track on the album. And it's a Super Smash Bros. Melee. And, well, it's basically a Smash Brothers remix. There's quite a few songs mushed together by the look of it.
Okay.
It's called Choose Your Character.
Ew.
And so it's by S Beast. So I thought, sounds like a good one to start the night with. Let's see how it sounds.
news, and a discussion topic. With this segment, TigerTails Radio surely spoils you. This is the news of the week.
Yep, this is the news of the week. And so this is the bit where we just bring you some news from the general side of the geekery things.
General side of geekery and various other places for entertainment. I'll start off then with some Kung Fu Panda news.
Ooh.
Yeah. Apparently a US man has been accused of fraud and perjury for allegedly backdating drawings that he used as evidence to sue DreamWorks. So this was a lawsuit back in 2011 where a guy brought this out against the Kung Fu Panda films, claiming that he had invented the title character. The prosecutor said that he created his scheme after seeing the trailer for the first time in 2008. Obviously, he's maintaining his innocence.
As they do.
And he filed for the infringement against DreamWorks and suggested a settlement of $12 million, which the company rejected.
I wonder why.
Yeah. So he's now effectively been found guilty in relation to this and could face up to 20 years worth of jail. And apparently this also demonstrates the FBI's commitment to root out individuals who try and steal ideas and information from hardworking American companies. So, you know, if you're going to do copyright fraud and things like that and all these lovely patent phishing schemes, the
smart.
FBI. Yeah.
He's smarter than that. Much smarter than that. You idiots.
Talking about smarter than that, the BBC website went down.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was unavailable for several hours on New Year's Eve, and this was due to, and get this, an anti-IS group who basically claimed the website attack because they wanted to see that what their servers could do. So they brought down the BBC website, the BBC iPlayer, and several other sites with a distributed denial of service attack.
Okay.
Across New Year's Eve.
Oh, really?
Which was annoying because that's what I was using to pass the time whilst I was at work.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I was busy. Well, it depends on time, actually, because I was at work for a portion of it, and then I went home for a portion, and then I had some fun for a portion, and then it was New Year's Day.
Yeah. Well, it went from 7 o'clock until I think about 1. They said by 10:30 the site was largely working again.
Right. In the
It
evening.
didn't feel, 10:30 GMT. It didn't feel like it. By midday, they said everything was operating normally, which I suppose it was to a degree. But it was the sheer fact that it was everything BBC related that was completely down. The iPlayer, the back stuff that you would normally use to catch up with TV and things like that. All of that down.
Even the web... This is during the morning?
This was during the morning on New Year's Eve.
Really?
Yeah.
I was using the BBC. I was on the BBC website that time in the morning. I didn't notice any problems.
I did, because every time I went to a page, it just went, error message.
No, I didn't get anything.
Yeah. Moving on.
How weird.
CES is coming. The first of the big expos.
Yay.
Although this is more the entertainment gadgetry, although gaming will undoubtedly be there. They've given a rough preview to the BBC. We've got scary baby dolls, because why not? Bendy TVs, because why not? Drones, because why not? And then virtual reality, which is the big thing for this year, because we're getting releases.
They say the big thing this year. From what I've read, NVIDIA have estimated that only 1% of PCs currently available are actually powerful enough to run VR.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I thought that was quite amusing.
I was like, here's the big thing that none of you can have yet. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Even though Sony is releasing their version, which will have its bolt-on processor to attach to the PS4 to enable you to do it.
Apparently the Wii-sized attachment, which they keep hidden behind the scenes and won't let you report about.
The Oculus Rift announcement on pre-orders, details, and how much will be on the 6th of January, so Wednesday. So everything for the Oculus will be confirmed as of the 6th of January, including the price, which we're not entirely sure what the heck that's going to be.
Expensive.
Most likely, but they were talking about a PC that could run it and the headset or equipment being the equivalent of about £1,000, which
Yep.
I think is debatable. And I think it might be a bit more expensive than that, but
Well, no,
I don't know.
a decent high-end gaming PC these days will cost you about £1,000, maybe a few quid less.
Yeah.
So that's probably not including the cost of the Oculus Rift add-on, though. So
No.
you've got to factor the cost of the Oculus on top of that £1,000 for your decent PC, and then you're
Yep.
looking at basically, it's the same cost as a decent fursuit.
Something else that I can't really put the money together for.
No, likewise.
But yeah, so CES is coming around the corner. There'll be lots of news coming out of that, which we'll talk about as and when. I'm going to bet that the major companies, or when I say major, primarily Sony will be there for the VR side.
Yep, PlayStation VR. I reckon that'll definitely get a showing.
Microsoft to a lesser degree, especially with the fact that the VR stuff for Oculus, they're packaging it with games, so Sony are going to have to ramp up and potentially show more games to try and get people to pick up on this one, because games will be one of the big draws for this feature. If it works,
Yeah, if.
then
Although
we'll see.
the Shark Simulator does look kind of amusing. All of about 5 minutes.
Look at the shark! Oh my god! Ah!
That's the thing with the all the VR stuff. I can see it being all amusing for all of 5-10 minutes. I'm yet to see too much that's actually looking like it's got a bit of longevity to it.
Yeah. Last bit of BBC news. The voice behind Boba Fett has passed away, aged 95. He is the guy who did all 4 lines of dialogue for the immediate fan favourite character of the second film,
Yep.
whose dialogue was completely rewritten on the remake because George Lucas, when he re-released the original trilogy, his voice was replaced by actor Tamura Morrison, who played Boba's father, Jango Fett, in the prequel films. So, just to stamp out the original character completely.
As Lucas does.
Yeah, and to side note on that one, he actually has come out and apologised for his comments trashing the newest film, probably because it was a case of, oh, it's popular and it's making more money than mine did.
Yeah. And everyone loves it.
And people are getting annoyed by the spoilers, because spoilers.
There we go.
But that's it for the BBC News. Gaming news, this beginning of the year, we have a blind gamer beating Zelda Ocarina of Time.
I saw that and thought, how on merry hell do you do that?
Well, you play for 5 years.
Even so. Without anybody telling him where he is or what he's doing or anything? Surely he must have had guidance.
I would assume so. Just looking through the article, they don't explain too much. There is a video showing what he does and the techniques he uses, including for completing the water temple, which apparently is the most difficult one. Mm-hmm. And there is a video of his Ocarina of Time playthrough that has been posted 2nd of January. I trying to understand from just looking at some of the pictures, it's insane. But for an achievement, I think it's brilliant, because we've seen games been beaten by players on Rock Band drums.
Yep.
Players on rock band guitars.
I beat Soul Calibur on a dance mat. That was one of my favourite achievements.
And then your knees went, never again.
No, actually, my knees, this was back in the day when I used to play DDR a lot, so my knees were used to it back then. But it made very interesting playing, because you really had to think about your character position. Because normally Soul Calibur is a kind of almost, not quite a button mashy affair, but you don't really think about character placement and your movement buttons. But when you're playing it on a dance mat, where attacks are around the edges, and you've really got to think, oh, hold a second, what do I need to do here? I need to go step, and then attack to get a move off, and suddenly this is actually, I've got to think about this now, shit.
Yeah.
All your instinct and muscle memory goes, no, I'm not useful anymore, go away.
But we do have a host of the usual 2016, lots of exclusives from everyone, and look at all the stuff that's coming. We also have a little bit of news coming out of Media Molecule, because apparently they're teasing they're going to make some pretty exciting announcements, because this will be its 10th anniversary on January the 4th, as in actual fact. Yes. and they plan to celebrate that with their fans. Pretty exciting announcements and events happening over the course of the next 12 months. So it'll be interesting to see, because that's Mod Nation Races, is it, for Media Molecule?
No, that was Little Big Planet.
Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
So Little Big Planet, some other games that they've got pictures of that I can't quite tell.
And that Dreams one.
Yes, Dreams lined up for this year. They don't have any other announced projects, although something new might be one of the exciting announcements referenced in their blog post.
Little Big Planet 4, please.
Possibly. Well, we're not going to get an Assassin's Creed, because apparently they've confirmed there won't be an Assassin's Creed this year. Thank God. And the date for when Final Fantasy's release date has been announced. If that makes sense.
It didn't, because I kind of lost you for a second. The release date for Final Fantasy what's been released?
The date for when they confirm the release date has been announced.
Of which Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy 15.
15, right, okay.
Well, the release date for Final Fantasy 15 will be announced in March, according to the game designer. This is the company that tells you when they're going to tell you when they're going to release a game.
Yep. Well, it's no different to people releasing trailers for trailers, is it?
Trailers for trailers, if done right, is hilarious.
I mean, they did it for the Harry Potter film that's coming up, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find It. There was a trailer for the trailer. As
We're going to release a trailer. We're going to tell you stuff.
It's like, we're going to
tell you something.
Here's the logo. We're going to tease that. Here is it rendered all pretty like. And by the way, it's telling us when there's going to be a trailer for the film. I saw the trailer. The trailer was really good. I'm actually getting quite excited because I own Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And to see that come alive in movie form would be quite interesting. It's like, I'm interested in this. You have my attention. Way to go.
The trailer does look interesting. It will be an interesting year for those kind of films, because we also have things like Goosebumps and a few other... They're fantasy films, but they're fantasy set in what's supposed to be the real world.
Yeah.
So, admittedly, it's all children book fantasy, so...
And Goosebumps wasn't all that bad.
Yeah, it's not all that bad, although this does have Jack Black, so
well.
I imagine you're going to have hold judgment on that.
Mileage may vary then. Some of his stuff really good, some of it less so.
Yep. And continuing on then with hacking news, apparently the PS4 was hacked by Fail Overflow, and they demonstrated the console playing Pokemon on a Linux OS.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is the first low-level hack of the PS4. The videos are up if you want to find them.
That didn't take as long as it did the PS3. The PS3 took them 6-7 years, and even
Yeah,
then that
but-
shit was patched out pretty damn quick.
Yeah, when you're considering it was the cell structure and all that, I'm
well,
not
when you
surprised.
considered when they did hack it, they leaked the bloody keys to the kingdom. It was like, yeah, that was a kind of big one that Sony shit itself over. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, we're really, really secure until you get to that bit, and then it's just all wide open. And it took them 6 or 7 years, but they got there in the end. Whereas the PS4 is only, what, 2 years old now?
Yeah, just about it. It doesn't feel it.
It doesn't, does it?
It doesn't feel, because it still feels like we're in that first year where there's like nothing.
I suppose it's because the first year was no games pretty much for any of them, either the the Xbox One or the PS4.
And
now
it still
we're starting
felt like
to,
the second year it was, yeah.
we're starting to get the drizzle of games coming in now, so it really kind of feels like year one. What year one should have been.
2016 is the launch window.
Yep, it's the whole of 2016, all 4 quarters of it, plus whatever we did in 2015, and probably some of 2017 as well. Because we'll be releasing add-ons and things, but they're not add-ons, they're extra platforms for the service. The PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are merely just tools that help these platforms evolve, and therefore all these releases and launch dates are all part of its window. Cough, 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 buy our stuff.
Cough, 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 yeah. So the news over the last 7 days hasn't been huge in terms of gaming. There's been the expected stuff going on, bits and pieces of news of shortages and stuff.
There's been a load of people snuffing it.
That's been this year, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we're only, what, 4 days into it this year? And it's like, every day I read someone else has snuffed it, and it's like, all right, people, calm down. It's like, you waited until the new year, did you? And then thought, oh, well, New Year's here, let's just pop our clogs and have a way. It's like, Jesus. People, chill. Stop dying. Let's just enjoy January, yeah? Bless you. Pete, stop dying.
No, it's just...
Just
for
enjoy
some
January.
reason, I'm betting it's dust because I started sneezing as soon as I got into work.
Ah, okay.
So I'm betting it's my dust allergies. But yeah, I mean, granted, haven't really had much time to go through the gaming news because I didn't think there was going to be a show, but there wasn't much to dig through really. And we don't have much to talk about in terms of releases because we're 4 days into the year.
Yeah. But what a busy 4 days it's been for me. All those fucking videos.
Yeah.
And watching awesome games done quick.
Yes, which is currently on, so we're fighting for, airways. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've got the entirety of the Kingdom Hearts playthrough. If I had the tools, I might have recorded that or tried streaming that live, but it won't be on any...
Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, good luck with that. I got the guidebook with me. There's like, I won't touch it. And he's like, yeah, no, this platforming is too much of a pain in the ass. I'm currently running through Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep on the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD disc.
Yeah, I've got to get to that one eventually.
And, oh, it's so nice. The platforming is so not like a tank. Things are smooth. It's like, I really enjoy this. This is why I enjoyed it on the PSP as well. It was a really good game there. It's a really good game in HD. And I actually did capture a little bit of that just so I could use it for the TigerTails gaming end card.
I know, I saw that and it was like, But there's also 2.8, which will be the PS4.
Yeah. So annoyed about that. I want...
Which has the unreleased cutscenes from the mobile browser game they only released in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Not too worried about. A
Oh, no, 'cause
tiny
it fills
game...
in a shitload of story. So worry about it.
Yeah, well, the Keyblade Wars, that's the ancient history. And I've already seen some of the people on Reddit try and theory craft around that, and it's like, you're trying to theory craft around that? Good luck.
Yeah, have fun with that, guys.
A character expansion on a character that was released in one of the other minor games.
Yeah, Birth by
I
Sleep.
think, yeah. And then a third one, which is the one I want to play, which I think is Dream Drop Dissidence.
Yeah, or Kingdom Hearts 3D.
Yeah, because that's the one that I've seen a lot of interesting things from.
And it's running on the Kingdom Hearts 3 engine.
Yeah, because it's the closest to the Kingdom Hearts 3 game, because it's the one that had a lot of the inspiration for this current iteration, because you can see the iteration, even if you go back to 1.5 where they've already changed bits because of 2, you can see the progression from 1 to 2.
Oh no, they haven't changed bits because of 2. This was the final mix in Japan. Basically what happens is the game gets released in Japan, and then sees a North American and European release, where they change a bunch of stuff, add a bunch of stuff, and then what they do is they re-release it in Japan, with basically the Japanese version with all the European stuff in it, and they call it Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. And then those
they did change some of the control things and the UI because of what 2 did.
I'm sure it was because of 2, because 2 wouldn't even been out yet when Kingdom Hearts Final Mix came out. And then what we've basically got is...
What, 1.5?
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 is basically the anglicised version of Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. So it's the Western re-release of the Japanese re-release of the Western release of the Japanese game.
I'll have to double check, because I'm fairly sure I read it was slightly edited because of 2. But hey ho. Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it's all a clusterfuck. It's a brilliant clusterfuck, but it's still a clusterfuck.
I've yet to get to the actual story. I'm still kicking around.
Oh, you wait until you try
Tarzan
and figure,
jungle.
You wait until you figure out Ansem and Xehanort.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Have fun with that shit. I skipped Kingdom Hearts 1 after going through... I got as far as the Cinderella world and got absolutely pissed off with it. Not Cinderella, sorry, Alice in Wonderland. The first world.
No, the second world, yeah.
Second world, whatever. And I got utterly pissed off with the platforming. This was back when I first played it. And so I skipped it, went straight to Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah.
And so there was Roxas, we start playing and it was all good. And then we go to Thor and it was even better. And then other stuff happening and we're going, I haven't a bloody clue what you're talking about. But they did manage to explain it well enough in the end that I'd actually kind of caught up and I figured out what was going on and it was all good. So kudos to Kingdom Hearts 2. You don't need to play Kingdom Hearts 1 to fully understand it by the end of the game. Going through it, you're going to really wish you'd play Kingdom Hearts 1. But by the end of
And-
it, it wraps it all up quite nicely.
And also have knowledge of
Chain of memories.
Chain of Memories 3.5 whatever over to... No, that's the other
Yeah, that's
one.
afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, it's the plot is convoluted, but hey ho, we'll talk about that again, I'm sure.
I'm
once
sure we
I've-
could make a 2-hour-long
done
YouTube
through.
video regarding that, like other people have done.
Well, so long as we touch on relevant scenes and have lots of footage, I'm sure that'll be fine.
How about no? Yeah, crazy bastard. I've still
yeah,
got
that's
this
it
Atari
for
video
game
to do,
news.
yeah.
Yes, I know.
I don't even know where to start on that one again. I was going through my notes on it and going, I'm going to involve Xavier. And then I went on a massive, where have I found all my research? And I've been collating all the like videos things into one place. So I could just go, here's a buttload of documentaries and shit. Here we go. See what knowledge you can garner out of these.
Yay. I have homework. Yay.
Yeah. You
So
done,
that's it for gaming news.
You done
Yep.
this weekend, by the way?
Not this weekend because I'm working Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, even if it's raining, work Saturday and then go out with my lady love because I want to get out of the house because the rain's been driving me up the wall.
Really?
Yeah, it's like every time I wanted to go out over the weekend, it went, no rain. And I was like,
Huh. Have rain instead. You don't want out, you want rain.
and then by the time the rain stopped, it was a case of, do I go out now?
No, I can't bother.
I'm comfortable. Especially when it was like, have a roast dinner, sun.
And now sleep.
Nearly, very nearly. So yeah, my plan is to actually get out of the house and go out and do something with Jules over the weekend. And then next weekend I'll be down.
Sounds like a fair plan. What is next weekend anyway? So, this weekend coming is the 9th and 10th. So you'll be down on the 16th and 17th.
Yeah, 16th and the 17th. And I'll then be seeing my parents the weekend after that, which is the 23rd.
24th.
I think. Yes.
Ah, no, I don't look at a February stupid thing. Go away. I don't like the Windows 10 calendar.
Planning! Yay!
Yay!
So yeah, that's it for the general geekery, the news of the show. Moving forward,
I was going to say, should we have a song then?
we will have a song. We also will have a bit of discussion about the one decent thing next to the Doctor Who special that didn't quite make up for last season.
Really? One decent thing aside from the Christmas special.
Yes, the
That thing, yes.
Sherlock special.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you.
The other thing we watched because
Yeah.
that was all that was on.
Just pretty much, yeah. Okay, well, let's have a bit of a tune then. Let's have a bit of... Oh, God. Should I be the person on OC Remix, featuring a load of others. This is Cuban Vacation from Kirby's Adventure.
TigerTails Radio. Be part of it. Chat in IRC. Tweet us at TigerTails Radio. Or like our Facebook page. Visit tigertailsradio.co.uk.
And there we go. That was some good Kirby music for us.
Yay!
Because everyone loves a little bit of Kirby. As well as Cuban Adventure by lots of people from OC Remix. And for some reason, the backing music keeps only appearing in one ear. There we go.
Because it likes to troll you.
It is. I need to buy a new cable, I think. More new cables. Because, you know,
Yay!
over 100 meters of new cable apparently wasn't enough.
No, it was not.
Rumble.
So this is done and dusted. Normally we would kick into various other things like Quiplash.
Is it done
but
and
as
dusted?
there's only... Yes, it's done and dusted.
Wait, I'll play the one jingle then. Give me a second.
Oh, God.
It's that time where the cast of TigerTails Radio reviews stuff badly. This is Done and Dusted.
Okay, so this is done and dusted now.
Thanks, TK.
My bad.
So we normally would play Quiplash if we had some more people. Unfortunately, we don't have the people. So we do also have the other segment that we like to rely on, which is Done and Dusted, where we talk about things that we have seen, watched, played, read, or generally enjoyed, and give you our opinions on it. And
Did we
this
do
one
Done and
is
Dusted
the-
last week?
I think we did something last week.
Did I talk about the Snoopy movie last week?
Yes, you did.
Did I?
But that was partly the look back over 2015.
Did I rave for ages about how awesome it was?
Yes.
Okay, shit. Oh. Damn it.
I'm sure you'll keep on about it. I am sure.
Really, really worth seeing. Fuck Star Wars.
Well, that's still on the list of things to see. But anyway, what I want to talk about is the Sherlock special.
And why not? It's a well-worthy special to talk about.
Yes, because, you know, it's not like we're going to be talking about Sherlock this year. Because
Yeah.
they're doing the release for the next season in 2017. Oh,
Bastards.
Sherlock fans hate you all. They hate you all. So yes, this was the much touted Victorian Sherlock special. And with little bits and pieces of spoilers in this one, it started off by giving you the and previously
Yep.
on Sherlock.
So a nice catch-up of the 3 seasons that have passed.
Yes, all 9 episodes. And I sat there and I went, thanks guys. Thanks for reminding me that you've only done 9 episodes.
9 awesome
And
episodes.
Awesome episodes, and I've still got another year before season 4.
Worth the wait.
You can just imagine Gattis and Moffat sat there going, the fans will love this, and then somebody going, no, they're going to want to kill you because you're reminding them of the long gaps in between your seasons. No, they'll love it. Everyone on Facebook,
It's a love-hate relationship.
it dropped straight into Victorian era Sherlock and restarting the introduction of Holmes and
Watson.
as it was in the book, the original book.
As it was in the first
Victorian
episode
era.
of the series.
Yeah. And it does go to show the first episode did stick to a good chunk of what the original book was. And even better, they amended the modernization of the lines to match what was going on with the book. So we have this lovely little intro, nice little montage credit sequence of bits and pieces from the episode. You know it's going to be from the episode because there's no other place that the Victorian stuff could come from.
Yep.
And then straight into Watson monologue as he talks about a case that's going on. So the entire scene, aside from the introduction, what you missed over the last 3 seasons, sets you up for the Victorian era adventure about the abdominal
No.
abominable
Yep.
bride.
Not the abdominal, because that's something else entirely.
Yeah. Hello, work, and your abdominal pains. So we have this weird storyline that goes through Sherlock being given this case to investigate, although little things don't ring true as we go through what's going on, because Lestrade appears. He tells the story of something that's shaken him to the point where he's drinking whiskey by the shotful. And effectively, a bride did a massive, great big scene on the street, shot a load of people. Not much interest there. But apparently she came back from the dead, got out and shot her husband,
Yep.
who was coming out of the opium den. Whereupon they then went, well, how could she do that when she was dead and also in the morgue?
Yeah. And then she kept on reappearing and killing other people as well.
Yes, which was
Other
suggested
men.
in various bits and pieces. Time happens and more things happen for the case. The show does have a lot of interesting callbacks for all the characters from previous seasons.
Huh?
You will see Molly make an appearance.
Yep.
And there is an interesting justification of her appearance in Dickensian era, Sherlock era morgue, which also underlines Sherlock attentiveness of certain things and Watson's attentiveness in other areas.
Indeed.
You have other characters making an appearance in minor parts that you don't realise until later. And you have this interesting story that has this interesting case. You run across Mycroft as Mycroft is in the books, as in an immense fat guy. But he's an immense fat guy because apparently the two of them have a bet to see whether or not he can eat himself to death.
And when?
And when. And suddenly it's like the Arthur Conan Doyle story is like, oh yes, it's going back to, oh no, there's Moffat. Yeah, there's
Yep.
Bettis.
There's the input. We wondered.
There's it. Yep.
Hopefully.
And probably as soon as I saw the scene, it was a little voice in my head going, yeah, that's going to be a gif for the Sherlock fandom. The introduction to the club with absolute silence rule, where
Yes.
Watson does sign language.
Very bad sign language.
If you don't know what I'm referring to, look up Watson sign language potato. You'll probably find the gif quite quickly. I'm just chuckling away to it even now. And they see Mycroft, and he alludes to this big enemy that's part of the case that Sherlock has been working on previously, and he's having to do another case for.
Yep.
And he says it's a battle that you're going to have to lose.
Yeah,
They go.
It's an invisible thing, but we're going to want to lose this one.
Yes. And he goes off to deal with this case, which is a woman who basically has a husband issue because he's seeing this abominable bride and even names her.
Abominable bride.
That's the one. So they turn up, they do the investigation, they do a stakeout, little bits of backstory feed character. Watson's wife is in the background of this. Some amusing lines
Yep.
for her as well.
Yeah, Mary is in this.
And as you would expect, the guy does get killed, who they're trying to protect, because old Victorian things happen. And as soon as the police arrive, Sherlock immediately goes, well, even Lestrade can solve this one because there's only one person who can solve this case, one person who it could have been.
Yep.
And being vaguely aware of the storylines and how the Sherlock TV series works, even I could get that.
Yep.
This wasn't the book level, but this was only the start of what's going on, because from this point, things get a little bit odder, and the oddities have been creeping up.
Just before you get to the oddities, I would like to say the comedy in this was absolutely spot on as well.
Oh,
For
yeah.
instance, when they're talking about the fact that Lestrade could solve it, and Lestrade's there with Mrs. Hooper, going, and he said even I could solve this. And she just turns around and says, I'm sure he was exaggerating. That's the look on his face. It's like, oh, wait, what?
But that's okay. She's apparently not saying anything because apparently she's background colour, and therefore she's not even greeting guests because Watson is writing these stories, as he does. And, the landlady doesn't say anything, do anything, so therefore she isn't,
Yeah, she's just there to make tea, apparently.
which he underlines quite well.
Yes.
It's like,
It's like,
okay.
all these people at the door, but I kept on making tea for them. Why? I don't know, this is what I do.
It's like these people just get let in. And Sherlock even does have his, I was talking to a chair when Watson, he thought Watson was there, but he apparently thought it was an improvement because obviously when Watson wasn't snarking back, it was wonderful for Sherlock. But hey-ho. But the oddities have crept in. There are little references, such as conversations between Sherlock and Mycroft about a list. What list? A list of everything. No idea what that's about.
Yet.
And things build up until suddenly he wakes up. And it's modern era.
And he's on
And
the plane.
he's on the plane.
The plane which he was on at the end of the last series. As he was
Yeah,
being exiled and then unexiled.
At which point I dubbed this the Sherlockception, and we went from there. The story doesn't get worse. In some ways, it does get better, because suddenly we have, what case is he trying to solve? He's trying to solve how Moriarty came back from the dead. And to do this, he's basically taken a boatload of drugs and is recreating an older case which apparently had similar circumstances.
Yep.
Whereupon we go full Sherlockception and dive in and out of modern era and Sherlock era and start having cross-references of what's going on. Such as Sherlock speaking in Watson's voice. References to modern daytime Watson, to olden daytime Watson.
Yeah.
And Moriarty just appearing, because why not?
I like the way that the Sherlock was going, oh yes, and all these things in the modern history, and yes, and Watson was going, what I'm like. It's like, oh yeah, it's quite nice, you quite like him. It's like, I'm not sure I'd like being in that era. Oh no, I think you take to it quite well. And I was kind of chuckling away. It's like,
Yeah,
this is absurd, I love it.
It does do a very good Inception job of boiling down further and further to the final confrontation, which, if you're a fan of the Sherlock books, if you're a fan of the Sherlock series, it's a case of, awesome, it's going to be this, it's going to be great. And then there's the twist, which even has humour to it. Now, there's a couple of things in this which I think are worth at least skirting around in terms of conversation.
Okay.
The solving of the original case of the bride results in them effectively finding this quote-unquote cult who are behind this secret army.
Yep.
Without spoiling it, it is very topical
Oh, very
in terms
typical.
of the writing. And some of the ways they go are interesting and edgy, because it's like they're willing to go to this length up to and including killing themselves in order to prove a point, as well as killing others in order to prove a point in an ancient era case.
Well, the
which kind
one
of-
who has killed herself was dying of consumption anyway.
Yes, which was a nice little add-on, because it was a case of, oh yeah, she knew she was going to die, so they did it anyway. So it wasn't really bad. It was still quite extreme.
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting look on a case that also kind of highlighted topical news.
Indeed.
And I thought that was quite interesting, the way it was solved, everything that was happening, the unravelling of all the events. That was quite cool.
It was a nice touch.
The characters coming back and you realising, oh, it's her, and stuff happening. And the whole realisation, though, that this was to solve how Moriarty died and came back was interesting, because for a second you thought, oh, that means Moriarty's going to come back and it's going to be solved, until you get to the resolution of Reichenbach Falls. And the main thing that I want to talk about, which is the resolution of that episode, which was, oh no, Moriarty's dead because you don't survive shooting yourself through the back of the head.
Yeah.
But we know what he's going to do next. 2017, the next episode. And it was like, what? But was that the entire point of that entire arc? To go, oh look, topical issue, and Moriarty is really dead.
He is dead. Here's the door now.
Which was kind of highlighted by one of the interviews as the point of this episode, because they said they were going to resolve the is Moriarty alive or is Moriarty dead within this this particular special.
Yeah. And it was
just-
a throwaway line at the very end of the episode.
And it just didn't feel satisfying. The investigation was great. The way they handled the general topics was interesting, because in that era, that topic is relevant. What's happening at that time is relevant. And
Yep.
it's an interesting dark mirror of what's going on now, because there's a lot of stuff that you could say is happening now similar to this.
Yeah, it's relevant
And
now.
kind of underlines that, yes, it is kind of something that needs to be improved, But this is kind of a dark edge that we're seeing now that may not necessarily be the best way of doing it. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be plenty of discussion about that. But it's the fact that it then ended up being, oh no, Moriarty's dead, moving on.
I actually wasn't too upset by that. It was a case of, we knew he was dead, really. We saw him shoot himself in the face. This was just confirmation that what you saw, yeah, he is dead. He is door-nailed. The fact that he is alluding to back now means nothing. He's definitely dead. So I will feel cheated if he actually does come back in the next series.
I don't think he'll come back alive. I think he may indeed be a psyche character in Sherlock's head, because Sherlockception.
Yep.
But I don't think he's going to be alive. I think there's probably a big old cult around him, and there's probably going to be something that suggests his revival. But the trick will be then to have the twist so that it's still relevant to Moriarty and the Sherlock story whilst being new.
Yeah.
My annoyance was that there was this all big build-up. It was like, oh yeah, we're going to have it. And it felt like, yes, there's going to be Moriarty in the background. There's going to be an explanation of how he did it, how somehow... Because the suggestion was potentially maybe Moriarty did exactly the same as Sherlock. Because he didn't exactly hang around on the roof, and they didn't exactly confirm what he did to survive everything. There were like half a dozen different theories that could be realistic.
Yeah.
Up to and including snogging Molly on the way down.
I loved that episode. The first episode of Series 3. It was like, well, how did you live? And it's like, oh yeah, this. No, that's a stupid theory. How about this? It's like, all you've done is just gone on the internet, looked at all the message boards, taken everyone's theory and just told them how wrong they are.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Do that again.
Although I imagine bits and pieces are how it is done, because the fall of Watson when he got hit by the cyclist, the way everything was laid out, it felt very prepped, up to and including the bouncy ball and things, and the fact that, you know, it's a morgue. Molly's there. You can easily find a body.
Exactly.
But it's kind of the oddness of that, though, is the fact that he was there. He saw Moriarty shoot himself. He would have known Moriarty's body was dead. With this, why would he even be wanting to figure out the question? It seems a little bit odd, because it's like, oh yeah, we need to confirm how he did it to himself. It's like, no, you're a man of science to a certain degree. You wouldn't doubt the evidence of your eyes, the body being found on the roof by your brother, or however it was done. You wouldn't need to do this little exercise of Sherlockception.
Yeah.
That's the thing that bugs me, because it's like, it's a lovely story. It's a lovely told story using a mechanic from a film further back. Lots of interesting things from the original book, from the original series, from the series, and all going through. But to then get to the conclusion that, oh yeah, Moriarty's dead, I still don't see why the character even needed to do that, and I'm not entirely sure if it was needed for the for the viewers, because the viewers would pretty much accept, if they started the next season, oh yeah, Moriarty's dead because there he is with a hole through him. But I don't know. I've got an entire year to wait before I see next season.
What I really enjoyed is the throwbacks, especially to the Reichenbach Falls.
Yeah.
Because the episode where Moriarty shot himself was called Reichenbach Falls, and it was kind of the "This is how Moriarty died" episode. And the Reichenbach Falls was the story in the original books of how Moriarty and Sherlock presumably died. And that was originally going to be the end of it, but Sherlock's popularity was such that Arthur Conan Doyle was forced to write more Sherlock stories, so he had to invent a way to get Sherlock out of it.
Yeah.
And to actually have the final confrontation type thing actually at the Reichenbach Falls, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm digging this. That's a very nice throwback that we didn't really get in the modern era one, because it wouldn't have been appropriate. But now they're in the Victorian times, it's wholly appropriate. Especially when Watson comes along and says, like, I know I'm in a story, I've written enough of them to know when I'm in one. And I was like, okay, I like that line, that's clever.
I liked it. Even the very end, the bit that you mentioned where you had old-time Sherlock and old-time Watson talking about modern era and how old-time Watson would enjoy modern era in
Yeah.
certain ways. And there are lots of lovely lines, including further reference to him being an army doctor and what he could do, and it's like some pure gold in that episode. It is a very, very good special. It just seems a little bit,
I saw a lot of people on Twitter not liking it, going, "Oh, this was boring. You're insulting our intelligence with this episode. It was stupid. It was basic. It was bland." And I'm going, "Sorry, did we watch the same Sherlock?"
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's basic and bland. I will say I knew who did the murder as soon as Sherlock uttered that line, because I know how Sherlock TV series adventures are done.
Yeah.
The clue to everything is in the episode, and quite often in such a way that you ignore it because you don't believe it's being shoved down your throat. The very first one with the taxis, it was like, oh, it's the taxi driver. A lot of people didn't have a clue
Yeah.
when they saw that first episode, and I was like, what?
That reminds me of an episode of Jonathan Creek. And I think it was the first episode Rick Mail was in, playing the police chappie.
Yeah.
And he comes out, and literally in the first 5 minutes of them realising there's been a murder, and Rick Mail's character just goes, "Oh yeah, so-and-so did it." And he goes, I just know it. And it was this, and I was going to find out how. And everyone's questioning it, going, "Nah, it can't be that, can't be that, can't be that." And it turns out, yeah, Rick Mail's character was right. From the very start, it was that character. And it's such... They played with the cliche, because basically the old cliche is they always have that early suspect who then eventually gets weeded out. And this time, they didn't get weeded out. It was actually that early presumption.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really nice play with the cliche.
But with the format of the show, I know there'll be some diehard fans who've seen it who would have picked up on it. And I know there'll be some diehard fans who'll be annoyed because it does seem to be the Sherlock formula of here's something that's fairly obviously thrust in your face.
And then there are some Sherlock fans who are nerdy as hell, I read on Twitter, who realise that the bus they have in the final few seconds of Sherlock, where it goes back into the modern world, the bus, I think it was like an 11 or something, doesn't actually go to Baker Street in London. It goes somewhere completely different. And I was like, oh dear God. Oh, wait a second, I can't complain, because when they had the Tube episode one, I was there picking all the holes in that as well. So,
And shall we talk about the train in Assassin's Creed?
yeah, well, we can actually talk about the train in Sherlock, because there was one scene where there was a train passing in the background, and I noticed it and went, oh, hello, it's one of those. That wouldn't have been there, but never mind, we'll let it slide. It's a backing shot. It's not plot-centric.
It's like, can we find the appropriate train? No, but here's one that looks-ish. Off you go.
Yeah. It's like, that style of locomotive actually came out 30, 40 years after this was said, but we'll let that slide.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it was
they weren't touting to be 100% historically accurate, unlike Assassin's Creed, saying, oh, we pride ourselves on a historical accuracy. And I was going, really? So why are the locomotive you're using then built 1 year after you've set this game? You're close, but you're not right.
But I will say I was more interested in how they were doing the take of Victorian era new version Sherlock than I was than the sudden Inception stuff that was happening. And, I've not woken up for realizations. And I know some people were saying in the end it was all a dream, and it did have that. And so JR walked out of the shower scene kind of feel, which is why I suppose the whole Moriarty, he's dead, it doesn't have the bite to it for me, because you could have said that at the start of the next season and we'd have gone on happily without the need for Inception, to be honest.
Here's a drinking game for you. Get a nice strong something and take a shot every time there's a scene of Sherlock or Watson not smoking a pipe. There'll be plenty of time where they're holding pipes in their mouths and blowing smoke around, but every time they're blowing smoke out of the pipe, they're not actually sucking it in. And so it's like, yeah, you're showing that you're smoking. You're not actually smoking that pipe, are you? You're blowing out through it. It's like, you're close, but the air's going in the wrong direction. You're not supposed to be pushing it out the pipe. You're supposed to be sucking it in through.
Well, it's probably some sort of vape thing. They're not going to be actually smoking.
They did look like genuine pipes. So,
Yeah.
But what I think it was is where the actors I don't think smoke. It's like, well, you need to look like you're smoking, so we're going to have the crew get some pipes on the go for you, and you just need to hold them in your mouth and puff a bit of air through them every now and again to basically make some smoke happen to make it look like they're lit.
Well, I will say it is nice to have a Sherlock episode, because as every one of the Sherlock fandom says, we get stiffed because we have years between shows, whereas other people have months between seasons.
And did you see afterwards where they crossed over with Luther?
Yeah, I sat there and I saw that and I went, no.
And
then I realised I went, no.
I thought, wait, is this a trailer for something they're doing, or is this literally just for the trailer? Is this a thing?
It could have been a thing if it weren't for the fact that they were editing bits and pieces of the episodes to be the trailer. That would have been hilariously good fun if they actually had crossovers, and that one little thing afterwards set the entire super Wholock fandom off. Because it's a case of, well, if you can do that for a trailer, why can't you do a crossover for our fandoms?
Yep. Why can't you make Wholock a thing?
Or just have Wholock. You know, all you need is Doctor Who suddenly appearing and then Sherlock trying to explain it.
Sherlock going off his tits because he can't. It's like, how? What? Mind blown.
Just have Matt Smith, Doctor, and Sherlock, plus whichever companion and Watson, and then throw them into an episode where it's a case of, well, I'm a doctor. Well, I'm a doctor.
I'm the Doctor.
It's like, well, what are your qualifications? Well, what are yours? And meanwhile, you've got Sherlock's going, there's something wrong about you. Why do you say that? You've got 2 hearts. How do you know that? Blah, 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 blah.
You're an extraterrestrial. How did you know? Well, look at the
start.
fucking TARDIS. There's your first clue.
Yeah, there's this. Plus there's the fact that you just walked out of a very small blue box, and the door is leading into an area much bigger. Plus you're holding an electrical gadget that has done some wonderful weird things. Oh, and that tie.
Yeah, that's how
The fandoms then implode, the world ends, and BBC never airs anything again.
Yeah. All because bow ties are cool. As our
There you go. That's an excuse to have the license fee. Wholock.
Yeah.
Get it done, BBC.
Make it
Especially
happen.
seeing as BBC 3 is now going to online and
Yeah,
stuff.
at the end of February, they've announced the date for it.
Yep.
With the new logo that looks suspiciously like it's saying BBC 2 exclamation point.
that looks suspiciously like W4A or W1A.
WLAs, yeah.
Kind of, yeah, and that was tweeted a lot. And the
Was.
BBC department for marketing went, yeah, we can't get anything right because all our comedy teams do it. I think their marketing team just be sat in a box going, we don't watch telly. Yeah.
What's this BBC 3? What do they do? Right, let's do something edgy and simple. I know, we'll just draw 3 lines. We'll say it symbolises stuff.
It's the 3 pillars because the exclamation mark says your voice. It's like, no, it didn't say your voice for E exclamation mark. It didn't say your voice for hello exclamation mark. It just suggests 2 very loudly.
Yeah. This is very
BBC
true.
2!
BBC 2 online. BBC 3.
And the worst thing is it's that optical illusion where you sit there and you go, that end exclamation mark's higher than the other 2.
Yeah.
But it's not, but it is, but it's not, but it is, but it's not.
What made me laugh is the BBC article about that. And they turned around and said the long-standing or core BBC 3 programmes will move to BBC 1 and 2. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And then it follows up with the line, this should constitute about 2 hours a week. Oh, that was hilarious. It's like, oh, that's burn there, isn't it?
Oh dear.
It's like, does somebody not like BBC 3 then?
Which is ridiculous because apparently that's where a lot of their demographic teen to early 20-somethings watch. Which is the demographic that the BBC thrive on, if you believe BBC One. Because they're not the target audience for things like Downton and stuff like that.
No.
They watch it still, but they're not the target audience.
You see, I think I'm the only person in the entire world who's actually quite happy that BBC 3 movies is moving online. Because it never really showed anything good anyway. Unless you like shows like Snog, Marry, whatever, Avoid, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, stuff like that I didn't really care about, but it's the occasional one when here's someone who's got a funny idea, an interesting show that wouldn't get picked up by BBC 1 or 2, but is good. And you go, oh, that's awesome. And then it gets farmed out to BBC One or Two, where it then dies a death because they don't understand what they got.
But everybody who watches BBC Three is likely to be online anyway, because it is the channel for the younger generation that isn't the school age. And so they are spending most of their time watching these shows on places like the BBC iPlayer. And so it makes more sense to not have to force them to stick to a schedule, but to allow them to get the content in their own time via the medium of catch-up television.
Yeah, especially seeing...
It's the Netflix generation. They're used to TV on demand, so making them adhere to scheduling doesn't make any sense.
Well, TV on demand or pirating, because if you subscribed to everything that had all of the major shows, apparently it was like X number $100 a month in America to be onto all the channels.
Yeah, this is America, though, because they have billions of pay TV services and things like that, so it would be
even over here.
Over here, you can get your Sky catch-up stuff, you can get the Freeview catch-up stuff via I can't remember the service now, but there's
your Netflix,
now TV or whatever it is. You've got Netflix, Amazon. I don't think you can get Hulu over here yet. I'm not sure.
No, you can get your Crunchyroll and stuff.
That's for your anime, yep.
And I think Nickelodeon as well.
Not sure. Because I know Disney don't do it over here yet.
No. They're kind of semi...
This is why I had
Disney
to
XD.
This is why I had to pirate The Lion Guard. Which I'm looking forward to the new series of when that kicks in. 'Cause that's coming soon, because that was a January 2016 release.
So at least there's something that you're getting that's released this year. I have to wait till 2017.
Only for Sherlock.
And then Doctor Who. God knows when that's coming back.
Yeah, probably sometime later on this year. They normally give us something like that. But I'm looking, or maybe next year, but I'm looking forward to more Capaldi, because I really enjoyed Capaldi's Doctor.
I would like them to get rid of Moffat and get someone in who can write for Capaldi.
Yeah.
And basically go, the Time Lords are back, and, you know, the leadership got dissolved because of the Doctor, and now some efficient people are in, and they're going to do stuff. And then make stories happen.
But the amount of dicking through time that the Doctor actually does, surely we're going to have a repeat of, was it the Tom Baker era, where we got summoned back to Gallifrey, basically to be told off?
Yeah. Well, it happened with the second Doctor, because that was the first time he got the ticking off and was forcibly regenerated via a crashing back to Earth to create the third Doctor, who is Wurzel Gummidge. And you can tell I'm a Doctor Who fan, Wurzel Gummidge, who then spent ages on Earth until the TARDIS was allowed to leave, or it did eventually get fixed, when he then regenerated into Tom Baker, who then had 7 years of massive amounts of stuff, including a huge amount of underlying stuff about the Time Lords, Kronos, keys to time, that have been completely thrown out of the window by Moffat. And the Doctor's been called back to Gallifrey a fair few times, up to and including Sylvester McCoy, for things that he's done, because he is a meddler.
That's a polite way of saying it.
Yeah. And he gets companions who one time are the voice of reason, and the other time are bigger meddlers than he is. Because the Daleks wasn't the Doctor's fault. His companions wandered off and meddled. Frequently. And you have this stuff that's going on and the ramifications of the Doctor's actions. And then, obviously, with Christopher Eccleston's Doctor being introduced, the Time Lords are gone, ramifications are gone. He did one series, and then we have Tennant, and then the fact that there's the walls of time being ruptured and things like that, that then led into the cracks in time. All this stuff that the Time Lords should be sorting out.
Yeah.
Despite the fact there's just him. And then cheese happened, because we have the crossover special, and apparently Gallifrey wasn't destroyed or time locked in the way that was suggested in the Tennant ending. It was time locked in a completely different way, which rewrote all of the Tennant stuff.
Yep.
Which now is completely confusing, because we have a different High Rassilon guy who was ineffectual and no one followed, an entire leadership based of Time Lords who just are completely inefficient, and a regeneration for a woman for someone who was just a military advisor / military person, who also seemed to be highly inefficient. Yeah, the last season has left some issues.
But we shall see how Moffat gets his way out of them.
He won't. He'll ignore them and then go, look at me, I'm a fan writer. No, Moffat.
Now you're a fan
Go back to
fiction writer. There's a
Go,
difference.
go do Sherlock. You like doing Sherlock.
And you're good at Sherlock.
Gattis can control you because he will basically say, no, you can't do this.
Yeah, we have source material to be reasonable to.
We have a fan base who will come and kill us because, they're old enough to do so, whereas Doctor Who aren't. And leave it to people who can write interesting episodes, like Neil Gaiman, who had a wonderful episode until the next time he came along and they butchered it. That Cyberman one could have been so good.
So promising, so close. Never mind. There's always next series.
Yeah, hopefully.
Gaiman seems to be at least a regular one episode per season writer.
I would like to see him more because he has done a lot of good stuff, and they're bringing back a lot of his other stuff. Things like the Neverwhere.
We say that. That's what happened with Moffat though, because he did a couple of brilliant episodes when Russell T Davies was in charge, and then they put him in charge of everything, and it all went to shit.
Yeah, so he can do one or two good episodes.
Could that happen if we put Gaiman in charge? Is he only good for one or two episodes?
I don't think he would be a good director, but I do think he'd be a very good writer. And I do think if you got the right person to direct his stuff, who understood what Gaiman was trying to do, it would then be interesting. And there have been other guys who have done some very interesting episode storylines that have had potential, but just weren't expanded on, because we've disappeared and lost a lot of the new monsters of the week that looked interesting, but were never fleshed out, or were just monsters of the week kind of thing. It was.
And what's happened to Madame Vastra? She's disappeared with some of the others.
What about Missy? She's disappeared.
Missy's gone for some reason.
Yeah, it's like, I introduced you to this, and then bye-bye.
And then poof, gone. Forgotten.
And River has been thoroughly written out of the entire universe.
Sadly, because I really liked River.
I liked that last episode, and it was a case of, you bastard, through that section.
Yeah.
Oh, look, here, have a sonic screwdriver. You bastard. Bastard. Fucker. Now I want to go watch the library fucking episodes. Bastard. Damn you all.
One question for you.
Yes.
How would you feel if we ever learnt the Doctor's true name?
I don't think that's going to be an issue, because I don't think it's something that ever will come out.
Well, I'm hoping the same. I'm hoping it never comes out. Because it's one of the few areas in the show where there is actually still that air of mystery. And
Yeah.
I would like that to remain.
That's fine.
But you just get that horrible, horrible feeling deep down that somewhere Moffat's going to reveal it.
I think if he does, he'll lose the last of the steadfast old timers, because the Sonic Shades, yeah, I mean, some of the changes that we've had with how the relationship between the Doctor and the TARDIS been interesting and fun, but the Sonic Shades was just like,
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Sonic Shades.
To be honest, it's like the Doctor is a man in a box who has this multi-tool that is a sonic screwdriver, and makes sense. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like these shades. It's like, no, they're not even good shades. They're not even good Blues Brothers shades.
They look more like the 3D glasses you get in the cinema.
Yeah. And we've had that kind of stuff where the Doctors have pulled out the 3D glasses to look at stuff randomly. Because why not? You know, it's just a prop for his
It's not even
antics.
the brainy specs. That's the thing. I liked it more when it was the brainy specs. Because at least that made kind of some semblance of sense. I'm going to wear these glasses to make myself appear more intelligent, even though I know exactly what's going on at all times, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's just like, oh yeah, here's some shades. Because Sonic.
Stuff. Yeah, because Sonic. And I would like to see the Doctor with his screwdriver going about in a random fashion again, coming into contact with things in what seems to be a random fashion, but is more of a case of there is stuff going on in the background that, like, the Time Lords need dealing with, or the big bad needs dealing with, or the big good needs dealing with, because then there's a sense of universe rather than this weird, oh look, we've got an immortal Viking lass who forgets her own name and somehow manages to get to the end of time because reasons.
Oh, because she was immortal, so of course she's going to last to the end of time. That's kind of how immortality works.
Despite never ever encountering any other incarnation of the Doctor, because obviously, you know, retcon everything, or running into any of the other characters that would run into her and know her, like the Master / Missy, or, you know.
Well,
how do
we know that she hasn't? Don't forget, I mean, the Doctor and Riversong's timeline's always got jumbled. So I expect Aisha, whatever her name is, we're going to see more of her, or me as she calls herself by the end of it.
Hopefully.
I reckon we'll probably see more of her. Especially as chances are she's probably going to end up being the bloody companion, isn't she? They're going to have a moment where they hate each other so much that they actually start travelling together. Or as long as we don't get bloody Clara being in that sodding Class spin-off with her. That episode really looked like they were going to... Because we know Class is coming. And it really looked like that was how they were going to spin it.
Well, she's now between heartbeats, disappeared off with the Eternal Me, so hopefully that's how they spin off those two, because I'd rather it's a case of Moffat just is a director of the occasional episode and has his name attached to producer. That's all I want. Decent writers, good directors, and then go, oh wait, look at all these American series and all of these other British series that actually have overarching plots woven into Monsters of the Week, and how that works. Let's go back to that.
I miss Monster of the Week.
Monster of the Week is fun because it gets you going into it, but it needs to be, this is the problem, and then when you look back, it's weaved into what's happened. Because that was my favourite with the first season of Matt Smith, because everything, when you look back from the final episode, was so delicately woven through it that some people refused to accept. When you said, well, hold on, that looks odd, they went, no, that's fine. It was like, what? No, something's wrong. And that made it a good season for me. Whereas the latest one, it doesn't feel like anything's woven in. It's just like, oh yeah, we're getting to this, there we go. You know.
Although in the first one, on the revival with Eccleston, did you spot Bad Wolf?
I didn't spot Bad Wolf, although there was bits and pieces littered around that so much, so it kind of, you knew something was there, but you didn't get everything.
I spotted Bad Wolf, but didn't realise it was anything important. I didn't see it in every episode. I saw it in a couple, and therefore I didn't see it regularly enough to trigger, hang on, this is an important thing. So it was like, arse.
But that's the thing, it needs to be a subtle weaving.
I thought that was actually well done.
Yeah.
Because it was so incredibly subtle. And then when you look back and saw it and you went, how the hell did I miss all that? And it was literally staring me in the face, but wasn't, but was. Ah! Damn you, Russell T. Davies. Damn you!
Which is the frustrating thing, because we've had that in previous seasons, we've had that with previous Doctors, but it's gotten pulled further and further out of the show to the point when suddenly it was a case of, yeah, now we just have a thing that we mention at the beginning of an season that will then
not be referenced again
until the end,
or maybe the end of next season.
Yeah, but then this is Doctor Who rants. Let's be honest, we're just ranting now.
It feels nice to rant every now and again.
It does about this kind of stuff, because it's like, we're passionate, we enjoy it, we like this, we have opinions about this, and we know what it is that keeps us interested in this, so we have a point of reference that we can have a discussion about, rather than, I think my opinion's more important than your opinion, so therefore you must bow down and worship me.
Oh, feel free to worship me anytime you like. I'm not going to stop you there. I'm all up for a bit of worshipping me. You go right ahead. Don't let me stop you.
TK, the immense queen. Yay.
Oh, yes. Which means I outrank every princess I come across.
Because TK is indeed a super special unicorn snowflake.
I'm not a snowflake. And And if you're really nice, I'll show you my horn.
Oh dear. So yes, this is TigerTails Radio. You have been listening to a belated show due to illness, and we normally go between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and we go live via our many sites. You can find all the details on the various places that you are listening or watching us.
The main place you can go is www.tigertailsradio.co.uk. I actually did a small update to catch up the show last night. That was another one of the things I managed to do. And once the show's finished, I'll chat to you about the website.
Yes.
I was going to do that before the show, but that didn't happen.
Illness happened, yeah. And so this is 2016. we have 25, 6, 7 shows left.
Yeah, not many. Almost halfway.
Not many.
Next week will be halfway.
27 weeks, TK. That's halfway. That's into summer, practically.
Yeah, pretty much. It should be.
Yeah.
That's when we start the season. You'll notice that few shows, these things have a kind of correlation. They'll start and stop round about the same time. Just with a year between, that's all.
Yeah, although gradually going further into the year, because we like to have breaks, and that break sometimes can be long or short, depending on test shows.
Yeah, depending on equipment and stuff, and how much I want to throw an axe at things. I really wanted to try and find a way of getting all the equipment into the lounge, but I can't see Hedgie allowing it.
No, you probably will need to move. So I think we need to wrap up then. It's been a fun little show.
It's been a short show.
Yeah. Next week, hopefully, we'll have some more people to witter at you. Maybe even a Hedgie or an Alex or a Felis, if we can bribe at least one of them into the studio.
Yeah, I wonder what's happened to Felis recently. I haven't seen him for ages.
I think a combination of Christmas, so family, and then general illness stuff.
Yeah, I saw him the Saturday before Christmas.
Yeah.
He popped over with Alex and collected their presents and cards and things. So we were able to get all that delivered for you. But
Yeah.
haven't seen them since. Oh, Alex has been in Japan, so he's had a good excuse.
Yeah, Alex has had a good excuse, but now he's back, and he's now undoubtedly doing the odd working between studenting, between working.
He sent me a message over Facebook asking about decent tickets for the Lion King in London, like good places to sit that don't cost the earth. And I was like, oh, you're actually going to see a show, are you? You're actually going to see a musical? Because he's seen one, I think. And I think we took him to it. And I know he wants to see Avenue Q as well, because that's in the main plan.
Yeah. Everything comes back and it's like, I don't know how I'm going to afford /book all the time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like Beauty and the Beast is coming back, and not Beauty and the Beast, sorry, Mary Poppins is coming back, and I want to see that. Avenue Q is coming back, and I want to see that. And it's like, sake, stop with all the awesome shows, damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you very much for listening. We best sign off, so that way we can all get rest, because we got work tomorrow. Yeah.
We do indeed, and some of us need to actually get some sleep.
So it's around a good night. So this is good night from Xavier.
And it's a good night from TK. Thank you very much for listening to us this week. We'll be back next week, hopefully on time, with a full show, a whole 2 hours, as opposed to the kind of hour and a half you've had this week.
Yay.
Yay! Yay for short shifts. But on that note, it's night-night, everybody. Night-night.
Night.